You've probably experienced this. You reach the bottom of a textbook page, blink, and realize you have absolutely no idea what you just read. Your eyes tracked every word perfectly, your hands turned pages on cue. Your conscious mind was miles away. While this feels like a lapse in concentration, neuroscience reveals a calculated takeover. Your brain has intentionally hijacked your focus. Zoning out is actually your brain booting up a highly sophisticated hidden operating system, one that takes over the moment it decides external reality is no longer demanding its immediate attention. This hidden system is called the default mode network. When your brain stops actively concentrating on a specific task, specific nodes like the medial prefrontal cortex and posterior cingulate light up in coordinated unison. When you engage in easy, highly predictable physical routines, like folding laundry, washing dishes, or walking a familiar commute, you send a signal that the outside world requires minimal vigilance. That signal is detected by a cluster of regions known as the salience network. Think of it as an automatic switch. Once it detects a low-demand environment, it actively dims the areas of your brain responsible for external attention, redirecting that cognitive power inward. Operating on autopilot is a deliberate neurocognitive trade-off. Your brain actively dials down its awareness of your surroundings to purchase the bandwidth it needs to do deep internal work. Looking at this chart, you can see that the default mode network consumes a massive 20% of your brain's total energy budget, even when you're supposedly at rest. That is a staggering metabolic expense. But the brain pays it willingly, because the background processing running during those idle moments is incredibly complex. To afford this energy cost, the brain initiates a physical mechanism called perceptual decoupling. It literally reduces its sensory grip on reality. It processes less detail from the sights and sounds around you, freeing up cognitive bandwidth. If you enjoy discovering the hidden neuroscience behind completely normal everyday behaviors like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your brain severs its full connection to the present moment because it needs isolation to run its most demanding background programs. With that excess energy secured, the default mode network begins to mentally travel through time. First, it activates the hippocampus to pull specific episodes from your past, like replaying an awkward office conversation while your hands wash the dishes. The medial prefrontal cortex then projects these memories forward, simulating future scenarios and weaving them into the ongoing story of who you are, your narrative self. This internal simulation engine generates our most creative breakthroughs. It is the reason solutions that eluded you for hours suddenly crystallize while you're standing in the shower. Wandering minds are not wasting time. They are running complex background algorithms to discover solutions the actively focused mind simply cannot see. But this brilliant problem-solving system has a severe vulnerability if it operates without interruption. When the default mode network stays active for too long, it loses its natural fluidity. The brain regions become overly synchronized, entering a rigid, hyper-connected state. Instead of freely exploring ideas, your thoughts become trapped in an endless, repetitive loop of past regrets and future anxieties, a state psychologists call rumination. This overactive, hyper-connected network is actually a primary biological marker found in people experiencing high anxiety or clinical depression. The wandering mind instantly shifts from a creative incubator to an emotional trap the moment it loses its neurological flexibility. Breaking a rumination loop requires forcing your brain to physically switch its active networks. You have to introduce a task demanding enough to wake up the executive control network, the system responsible for sharp external focus. That means doing a complex puzzle, playing a fast-paced video game, or practicing deep, intentional meditation. This sudden surge of intense external demand forcibly quiets the default mode network and anchors your mind back in reality. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below sharing a specific moment you caught yourself completely zoned out on autopilot. Your wandering mind operates as a specialized tool, solving complex problems and reinforcing your internal sense of identity, provided you know how to control the switch.